What's up guys, it's Average Ol making average content for the average viewer, and today I wanted to make a video talking about gaming as a whole and some of the things that both excite me and worry me. In the background I'm using some uncut footage from an extremely average game I had in Modern Warfare, so there's that. And before we start, you already know I'm going to ask you guys to try and go for 69 likes. I honestly really hope that one day I can get to the point where I can realistically ask for 6,969 likes, but for today, just the 69 will do, because who doesn't enjoy a meal for two with a view? So anyway, without further ado, let's get on with it, shall we? Here's the thing, in the last decade or so, we have seen some monumental shifts in gaming. We've seen trends come and go, we have seen massive games flop, unheard of games explode, and enough loot boxes and microtransactions to bring the poorest of African countries straight out of poverty. And for me, the speed at which gaming is evolving is both amazing and exciting, but also very scary. So let's start with something that I'm extremely excited about. For as long as I can remember, the gaming community has been split by the console that they choose. Whether that be Xbox, PlayStation, PC or their bloody iPhone, gamers have been forced to choose a side and stick with it. Like at this point, it would have been easier to leave the SS to open a Hebrew themed gay bar than it is to tell your mates that you're switching to PlayStation. Okay, well maybe that's a bit of an overstatement, but my point still stands. The level of hate and competition between platforms has been a massive thing for years. However, we have seen recently the implementation of crossplay, first with Fortnite and now with Call of Duty, whereby players of every ilk can play with one another. And let's be honest, this is awesome. I expect many of you guys probably played the Modern Warfare beta and noticed just how seamless it was playing matches with both Xbox, PlayStation and even PC players thrown in there too. It was amazing, and honestly I can see this becoming the norm in years to come. So it no longer matters if you're looking for people to play with, but everyone you know that plays a certain game has the other console, because in the next few years I honestly believe that no matter what game it is, you will be able to play with everyone. However, this brings me on to something that I'm not so happy about, and that is exclusivity deals. Now these things have been around for years and years, and to be clear, I'm not talking about first party titles and console exclusivity. For the most part, I don't have as much of a problem with this because these tend to be more single player focused, and at the end of the day I completely get it from a business standpoint. However, the problem for me as an Xbox fan is that with many games, PlayStation just seems to get extra stuff, and to me, that's fucking shit. I mean, have we not both paid the exact same amount for the exact same product? Should we not have the same experience too? We saw stuff like this with Fortnite, whereby PlayStation were given skins that Xbox players could not access. And yeah, that was annoying, but it didn't bother me much, because I'm not a fucking 10-year-old. However, recently we have been told that with Modern Warfare, PlayStation will be getting a survival game mode before Xbox. Not a week before, not a month before, but a whole fucking year. What? So you mean to tell me, because I chose to invest in a different hunk of plastic, I am no longer entitled to the content that I have paid for a whole year? By which time the new Call of Duty will be out and I'll be spinning out all over again because the next bit of content that I'm looking forward to I won't be able to play for another fucking year. I know I moaned about this before in a previous video with the alpha, but at this point, waiting a whole year for something just seems criminal. And to relate it back to my point, it just makes me worried about what else this is going to affect in the future. Am I actually going to be forced to buy a whole other console just because mine is being outbought? And if that's the case, then why the hell would I want to invest in a company that has practiced such a malicious scheme? Anyway, enough said about that. Next, I want to talk about is the next big craze. Right, so when I was first introduced to online gaming, it was when COD 4 had just come out. I'd been playing video games for well over 10 years before this, but this was the first time I was able to connect to the internet and test my skills against millions of other players from all over the world. This sparked a massive trend in online shooters for consoles and really brought it into the mainstream, whereas before it was mainly PC players that were able to enjoy this sort of experience. and more recently we have seen the massive trend that is Battle Royale. Love them or hate them, games like PUBG, Fortnite and Apex have all done an incredible job of completely changing the gaming sphere and almost creating a whole new genre that has completely taken over the world. Just quickly, before I get pasted in the comments, I know that other games like H1Z1 came out before these big three games, but it's undeniable that PUBG and Fortnite is what blew the genre up. Now, I've explained before that I'm not the biggest fan of Battle Royales, but what really excites me about this is the potential for the next big thing, and that being something that I've never even heard of. I'm the sort of guy who's been playing mainly first-person shooters for years, with the exception of the odd open world RPG and a few looter shooters, but my point is the next big thing is something that I haven't even tried yet, and it might even be my favourite genre yet, and that to me is fucking exciting. So the next thing I really want to talk about is something that is becoming an issue in the gaming world, and that is the plague, the fucking cancer that is micro DLC. So we've seen it everywhere, from Overwatch to Grand Theft Auto, and some come a lot more predatory than others. So on the one hand, we have the option to be able to buy skins like we've seen in a lot of games like Battlefield, and to be honest, I don't like it, but for the most part I can ignore it, because I don't have to buy it, and if people want to spend their hard earned money on making their character into some weird space age cross between a dinosaur and a fucking cyborg, then more power to them. But what I won't stand for is the type of egregious methods we have seen with games such as Battlefront 2 and Black Ops 4. Take Black Ops for the example for this. The game released with next to no microtransactions at all, and then after the reviews had been published and the promises had been made, we were introduced to a tier system. Now, a lot of people were up in arms about this because it meant that DLC weapons were locked behind a very long and arbitrary progression system. It didn't bother me too much because I was able to play the game enough to be able to unlock the weapons organically. However, for a more casual player, it meant if they wanted to unlock these weapons, they had to pay excessive amounts to skip through the tier system. But this isn't even the issue. That's not even the worst part. It's now been reduced to loot boxes again, randomised supply drops whereby you aren't even told the odds of your success. Now, I want to test out a new weapon, but instead of dedicating my time to a game, I have to earn the right to open these fucking crates. But I don't know if I'm getting the gun I want or if I'm just getting a reticle with a smiley face on it. Seriously? And this worries the shit out of me. It used to be that companies were fine with just making money from the revenue of the games, but we have seen even with Battlefield 5 that they have adopted the idea that it is now fine to release unfinished products and disguise the content that we should have had originally as free DLC. And then to really rub salt in the wound, DLC we are actually looking for and wanting is locked behind randomness and gambling. That's just shitty. I should point out that with Battlefield 5, the way in which new weapons are unlocked is actually very good and fair. The game has many flaws, but thankfully that is not one of them. Anyway, that's it for the things that both excite and worry me so far with gaming. There's obviously loads more to talk about, but I really want to hear your input. So let me hear in the comments down below what things really excite you about the future of gaming, and of course the things that scare you shitless. Also, if you're new around here and enjoy this sort of content, please check out my other videos. I'm sure there's something there that tickles your fancy. And if you haven't already, I'd love it if you'd subscribe. That's it from me today. I'm Average Joel. Peace.